Hello everyone, my name is Sydney Foraker. This is my presentation for History 240 World War I, focusing on the Peace Treaty of Versailles and Germany. This is the cover and a page of the English translated treaty. The treaty was written in English and French. The cover is on the left and the page beginning the discussion of German boundaries is on the right. It was important to France and Britain that Germany be stripped of some of her lands according to rights and reparations that would be determined in this treaty. The boundaries of Germany were redrawn and put into effect almost immediately. The map on the left shows pre-war 1914 boundaries along with the Central Powers, the Triple Entente, and the neutral countries during the war. The map on the right shows the redrawn boundaries of Germany and other countries, and the establishment of new countries. Germany lost 13% of her territory, about 25,000 square miles, and about 10% of the population, equaling around 6 million people. Poland received most of the land lost by Germany, which came from West Prussia, about 18,000 square miles. Outside of Europe, Germany lost all of her overseas colonies to France, Britain, Japan, Belgium, and Australia, to name a few. Their trades with Egypt, Morocco, and China were lost as well. The map on the left shows the specific parts of Germany that were given to other countries or placed under the authority of the League of Nations. The parts in blue represent the land lost by Germany, such as Saar, Alsace-Lorraine, and parts of West Prussia. The map on the right is an enlarged version of the same map to show the detail. Alsace-Lorraine was given back to France as well as access to the coal mines of Saar. Saar was temporarily placed under the League of Nations authority for 15 years. This area was significant to Germany and France because it produced 12 to 13 million tons of coal per year. Belgium was given Eupen and Malmedy, which were industrial regions for Germany to support Belgium's reconstruction. Those sections of land are on the left of the map. They are south of Germany and in the northern part of Germany, just under the Netherlands. West Prussia is on the west side of Germany. The part in blue was given to the newly established Poland. This is a photograph of the Allied countries' representatives reading over documents to be considered for the treaty at the Paris Peace Conference headed by French Premier Georges Clemenceau. The delegates from Germany were not allotted seats. They frequently attempted to gain legitimate status at the conference under the notion that Germany should be treated equally with other nations because it could contribute to world peace. Their attempts failed and they continued to play a non-existent role during the drafting of the treaty. This photograph is of the German delegates sent to Paris for the peace conference. The delegates were not allowed to participate during the drafting of the treaty. When the final draft was finished, it was dictated to them and they could either accept or not accept it. If they did not accept the treaty, it would mean an act of war in the eyes of the Allies. These delegates expressed concerns about the war reparations that Germany was to pay. They frequently protested against the quote, blank check, end quote, that their country would be signing because no amount had yet to be determined and neither had a deadline. The sum was subject to modification, increase, and interest. When the armistice was signed, Germany was prepared to make payments up to a maximum of 100 billion gold marks, or 33 billion US dollars. The first payment would be made by May 1st, 1926 of 20 billion gold marks and the remaining 80 billion in payments. The reparation that made it into the treaty required Germany to pay 20 billion by the end of April 1921, less than 2 years later. This photograph is of the Big Four before the signing ceremony. The gentlemen are, from left to right, British Prime Minister David Lloyd George, Italian Prime Minister Vittorio Orlando, French Premier Georges Clemenceau, and United States President Woodrow Wilson. Clemenceau felt that France was owed much more than any other country impacted by Germany during the war. He fought for extreme reparations and tactfully dealt with protest by the German delegates. The delegates were wary and attempted to protest against the war guilt clause. Clemenceau responded that Germany had already taken responsibility for the aggression, and since the German government did not protest the word aggression, it accepted the war guilt. This photograph was taken during the signing of the treaty on June 28, 1919 in the Hall of Mirrors at Versailles. In the middle of the room, in front of the mirrors, are the signing representatives of each country seated at tables. Surrounding them are other representatives, spouses, press, and the public. In an effort to make the signing as quick as possible, the treaty was already pre-stamped with each country's seal. Each representative was to sign next to the appropriate stamp. The German representatives, Johannes Bell and Hermann Mueller, were the first to sign the treaty, followed by France, Great Britain, and the United States. The painting on the left by Sir William Orpin depicts the signing of the treaty. President Woodrow Wilson and French Premier Georges Clemenceau are located at the bottom middle of the painting in front of the center mirror, with other countries' representatives seated with them and standing behind them. The figures with their backs turned to the audience are Johannes Bell and Hermann Mueller signing the treaty. The photograph on the right are the treaty signatures of Bell and Mueller next to their stamps that are placed on a ribbon. These, as well as other signatures, represented the mutual understanding of what the treaty demanded, as well as taking responsibility for the troubles that would occur later, leading up to the outbreak of World War II. This concludes my presentation of the Treaty of Versailles and Germany for History 240.